Hello everyone, this is Rajesh, a chartered accountant practicing and working as a faculty for masterminds for taxation and auditing. In this video, we are aiming at how to answer your MCQs in the auditing paper in the coming exam. Now for ensuring that, what I have done is, from the recent ICA MCQ material, I have copied from the material some important questions. Now I have taken some 23 questions. We are going to analyze that. The same analysis you are going to use in your exam also, so that you are going to score some good marks. Our objective is very simple. We have to get 100% marks in the MCQs. That is the only target of this video. Yes. So for that reason, I have taken multiple types of MCQs. It may be direct MCQ, which is from the standards, or it may be from a company's act, or it may be a case scenario based question. So like that, overall we have some questions to be discussed here. At the end of this discussion, you will come to an overall conclusion of how you are supposed to analyze an MCQ in the exam. Okay. Now, please keep in your mind that these MCQ questions which are given now will be for generally 1 mark, or in least case scenario it may be 2 marks also, but generally 1 mark in nature. No. So don't be like of a notion that the question is for only 1 mark. Now paper will be easy. Don't be of that notion. Okay. If he wants to give a tough paper, he may try to confuse you also. So that's why we are going to cover this video. We are going to analyze the each and every MCQ given here. Okay. Yes. So without any delay, let's start with question number 1. What is question number 1? As per SA 200, overall objective of the independent auditor in conducting an audit of financial statements, the overall objective of auditor are, is stopping there. Now this sentence is nothing but a copy paste of the SA 220 standard, which talks about auditor will be having generally 2 objectives. What are the 2 objectives he has? To obtain a reasonable assurance whether financial statements are free from material misstatements and they are prepared in all material respects as per the applicable financial reporting framework. And what is the second objective? To report as per the standards on auditing on the financial statements. These are the basic 2 objectives we have. Correct, no? Yes, sir. If you see the options given here, option A is about obtaining a reasonable assurance. Option B is about reporting on the financial statements. And if you remember the standard content, no, both are covered. Answer will be both, no. And if you see C, option C, what is the answer? Both A and B are the options. So what is the correct option you are going to write? Both A and B. So this is so simple MCQ, no, sir. Why you have picked it? There is a reason. Concentrate. Now by studying the question, by seeing the first option, no, to obtain a reasonable assurance, the student will be like tempted. Like this is the correct answer. So what I am telling here, by seeing the statement, don't get to a blind conclusion. You are supposed to read the entire question. The question is not complete, boss. You are supposed to read the entire question, then come to the conclusion. So option is A, I am not denying the fact. Even option B also correct only, na. That's why read the entire question and answer becomes a C. Sir, option D, what is that? To obtain a absolute assurance. Obviously, auditor should not obtain a absolute assurance. He is not having a power to obtain absolute assurance. He can maximum obtain only reasonable assurance. Why you remember? Because of some existence of inherent limitations. So option D completely I can eliminate from the answer here. So answer D can be completely eliminated. What is the correct answer then? Option A and B. That means option C is what it says, sir. Both A and B. Sir, if I write the answer only A, will I get the marks? If I write the only answer B, will I get the marks? Answer is no. If I write only option C, you are going to get the marks, because option A and B both are correct, na? Yes. So that is how you have to analyze the first question. Okay. First type of question. Now question number 2. If the auditor is unable to agree to a change of the terms of audit engagement and is not permitted by the management to continue the original audit engagement, the auditor shall. He is stopping there. This is also nothing but, sir, very simple copy of the standard only, but with small alterations. He is going to give 4 options. Immediately when you are finding something called audit engagement, you are supposed to remember, if you are seeing something called terms of audit engagement, immediately your mind should strike to SA 210, which talks about agreeing on the terms of audit engagement. Remember that. So after the start of audit, once the appointment is done, management is trying to impose some restriction. Management is asking for change in terms and conditions, which were priorly not there, or which were priorly there, they are wanting to reduce it. So as auditor, you have to check whether reason is justifiable or reason is not justifiable. If reason is justifiable, well and good, you accept it. If reason is not justifiable, ask the management, let's continue with the original terms. If management allows that, well and good. If management is not allowing, now what we can do, sir? We'll ask the management that we are going to withdraw. And when you are withdrawing, it's not only withdrawal, along with the withdrawal, check whether any contractual and legal obligation is there to inform someone. And if you remember the Companies Act, no, it says, sir, when you are resigning from the audit office, you are supposed to file on 883 form. Remember that, no, 883 form should be filed with the ROC company, and also in case of government company, C&DG. Like that, check whether any contractual and legal rights are there, obligations are there. Meet that and then try to withdraw. Let's see from the answers what is the where it's given. First option, withdraw from the audit engagement where possible under applicable law or regulation. Simply they are telling what? Withdrawal. See the B option, determine whether there is any obligation either contractual or otherwise to report the circumstance to other parties such as TCWG, auditors or regulators. See, option A is correct only, B is also correct only, but they are talking only a simple only one statement. I told about two things, no, withdrawal and also informing. A talks about withdrawal, B talks about informing. Both are correct answers, no, both should be combined, right? Now see the C option, withdraw from the audit engagement where possible under law or regulation and determine whether there is any obligation. They are covering both, na. Here you are saying the word and here and. That word is very important. Now see the D option. See, that means nothing but option A and B is adding a conjunction and is giving the next statement. Okay. See the D option, withdraw from the audit engagement where possible under applicable law or regulation, or if you observe carefully, A is a statement, B is a statement, C is a conjunction. C is nothing but joining of A and B with a conjunction and. D is nothing but a conjunction, same again, but with the word or. So you tell me, withdrawal or informing or both? Both should be there, na? So what is the option here? Option number C is the correct answer. A, B, D are completely wrong. Understood? So how we are supposed to analyze that? Very simple. If you are having a good command on the standards, na, if you are at the time of reading only, if you are concentrating properly, you will get this command. Answering MCQ is not as simple as that. You should be having a good command on the subject. Okay? Yes. So this and conjunction is completely going to change. So that's why I'll tell you, basically while reading, no, read carefully, try to observe each and every conjunction, even the word and or, that grammatical language also becomes important. Okay? Yes. Question number 4. Now this is the straight away a question on what is the standard number and standard name. Which of the following is not correct? He is giving some 4 standard numbers. He is giving some 4 standard names also. He is asking you which are mismatching. Sir, for answering this, what you have to remember? You are supposed to remember standard number and name. That's why while teaching class itself, we are continuously telling that you are supposed to remember the standard number and name. Standard number and name, even the section number also. At least subsection if you can't remember, okay, chalega. But remembering the standard number becomes completely mandatory in nature. Okay. So remember that always before going to the exam, once you go to the all standard numbers, there are high possibility of asking like this also. See, we can't judge how paper will be exactly coming like. What is the thing which is going on in the paper valuation's mind, paper setter's mind, we can't judge, na. Yes. So which of the following is not correct? Sir, essay 230 talks about documentation. We know that. Essay 500 talks about evidence. That is also well known. 560 subsequent events. But if you see essay 505, essay 505 talks about external confirmation. But what they are writing here? Written representation. Written representation not dealt in essay 505. It's dealt in essay 580. Correct? No. So what is the odd one out here? The option C becomes the odd one out here. They are not asking you the correct one, incorrect one. Please see, seeing that also important. Now, which of the following is not correct? People in a hurry will see which of the following is correct. And by seeing the option A, essay 230 documentation correct, hai na? We'll go for option A. It's not so. Read the entire question while answering. You have to pick the odd one out. Okay. Next one, please. Audit risk is a function of risk of material misstatement. And so this is the exact question from essay 315, which says audit risk is a function of two things. One is the risk of material misstatement, which is not in the control of auditor. That is purely because of the management mistake. And if this risk of material misstatement is there, if the auditor is performing less procedures, he may not identify the risk areas. If he is performing more procedures, there might be higher possibilities of identifying more risk areas, more fraudulent areas. So audit risk is a function of risk of material misstatement and detection risk. This is the correct answer. How you know this, sir? By having a good command on the standard. Sir, what about business risk? First of all, business risk is not at all an audit risk. That's the first time we will tell in audit risk. And inherent risk and control risk, these are nothing but the components of risk of material misstatement. See, basically, if you remember, audit risk is nothing but a composition of two things, sir. One is risk of material misstatement. Second is what, sir? Detection risk. And in that, in risk of material misstatement, we have something called inherent risk and also control risk. Now, in this detection is what we have? We have something called like a sampling risk and also non-sampling risk. So, as such, what is asking? What is the composition of audit risk? What you are supposed to write? Risk of material misstatement and also detection risk. If he asks you what is the composition of risk of material misstatement, what you'll write? Inherent risk, control risk. Understood? So what is the correct answer here? Detection risk. So the correct answer becomes what, sir? Detection risk. Okay. Yes. Come to question number 7. Which of the following is incorrect? For the purpose of identifying and assessing the risk of material misstatement, the auditor shall. So this is also again a question from SA 315. What is SA 315? Which talks about identifying and assessing the risk of material misstatement through understanding the entity, environment and the controls. That is the entire SA 315. What is talking here? Which of the following is incorrect for the purpose of identifying and assessing the risk of material misstatement? He is not talking about correct one, he is talking about incorrect one. Let's see. Identifying risk through the process of obtaining an understanding of entity, its environment, including relevant controls that relates to risks, and by considering the class of transactions, account balances, disclosures. Absolutely. For identifying the risk, no, you are going to understand the entity. Absolutely true statement. Next one. Assess the identified risk and evaluate whether the relate more pervasively to financial statements or as a whole and potentially affect the many assertions. Obviously, once you identify a risk of material misstatement, it may be at two levels. It may be at financial statement level, it may be at assertion level. Even that also will be done in the SA 315. SA 315 is not merely about identifying and assessing. What assessing? It may be at financial statement level, assertion level. It may be pervasive, non-pervasive. So point B also will be absolutely correct only. Point C, let's see. Relate the identified risk to what can go wrong at assertion level, taking into account of relevant controls that the auditor intends to test. Obviously, based on the risk being identified, we will go for checking the controls, whether that will have an impact on whether mistake may be there, may not be there. So option C also is correct statement only. Yes, that means overall he is covering the entire SA 315 here. In SA 315, what exactly you are going to give? Summary is given in the ABC point. And see the last point D now. D is odd one out. Let's see. Not consider the likelihood of misstatement. He is saying consider, not consider. Very important. What happens, sir? In SA 315, we are going to consider the likelihood of misstatement, possibility of misstatement, risk of material misstatement. But what is telling? Not consider. The word, simple word, not has been added here. Not consider the likelihood of misstatement, including the possibility of multiple misstatements, and whether the potential misstatement is of a magnitude that could result in material misstatement. The entire statement is absolutely correct. I am not denying the fact, but what is the extra word added here? Not. So like that, you have to stress more, you have to be more concentrated while reading a question. Read twice, thrice, no worries. See, don't be in a hurry like I'll answer all the 100% questions. You have to ensure that you are writing good quantity of, good quality of paper. Quality followed by quantity will be a correct paper. Quantity followed by quality is not a good paper. Okay. Always ensure that you should be having a good quality, based on which, if you want, you can go for more quantity also. What I am saying, try to answer some 70-80% marks with a good quality, and if time permits, you can go for other answers also which you don't know also. But trying to ensure that the answer which you know better, no, answer first. Even in MCQ also, when answering a question, try to read once and twice also, so that you will get a more clarity. Any word which is missed in the first reading, no, may come to your mind in the second reading, maybe in the third reading. Understood? Yes. What is the correct answer? Option D becomes the correct answer. Which of the following is incorrect? Again, they are asking about correct or incorrect? Incorrect. Let's see. An auditor conducting an audit in accordance with the standards on auditing is responsible for obtaining a absolute assurance. What is telling? Absolute or reasonable? Absolute. So by seeing this word absolute, immediately your answer should be what? This statement is true or false? False. Incorrect only? Yes. But let's not jump into the straight away conclusion. Let's read the entire statements. Okay. That's why I'm telling. By seeing the first statement itself, we will come to a conclusion that it's wrong. Yes, I understand. But don't jump into a conclusion. Maybe there may be other statement which may be more incorrect. Let's see B point. As described in SA 200, owing to the inherent limitations of an audit, there is an unavoidable risk that some material misstatement of the finance statement will not be detected, even though the audit is properly planned and performed in accordance with the standards on auditing. Absolutely true statement only. That is the reason why we are telling there are inherent limitations. That is the reason why we are telling auditor will obtain only a reasonable assurance. Correct? Next. The risk of not detecting a material misstatement resulting from fraud is higher than risk of not detecting from error. Obviously, if fraud is being done, no, they are not going to simply do it. They are going to pakadbandili plan. They'll be planning sophisticatedly. If the fraud is done by a senior level management, no, it's more difficult. True statement only. Next. Risk of auditor not detecting a material misstatement resulting from management fraud is greater than for employee fraud. Obviously, employee is a lower level personal. He will not be having a control over the all the organization. But management people will be having a control over the entire organization. Fraud done by management will be having a more magnitude compared to the employee fraud. And the possibility of detecting of employee fraud will be easier compared to management fraud. Option D also correct only. So what is the odd one out here? Option A is the odd one out. These two B, C are the correct statements only now. Yes. Okay. Question number 9. Reporting on fraud is made by auditor to central government in a statement in the form. Very simple. Sir, we have discussed in a class about 4 forms. ADT 1, 2, 3, 4. ADT 1 talks about a form to be filed by the company to the ROC telling about appointment of auditor within 15 days of his appointment. ADT 2 talks about company wants to remove the auditor under 140 subsection 1 by passing a board resolution. Within 30 days you have to inform the government, central government. After that you will wait for the permission of government. From that date you will take the 60 days of time for conducting a shareholders EGM. That's covered in ADT 2. Then comes ADT 3, talks about auditor resigning. Auditor, if he wants to resign, he has a duty under 140 subsection 2 that he has to submit the form ADT 3. By submitting this ADT 3 form, like within 30 days of time, no, he'll tell the reasons why he's going out. Correct? So 1, 2, 3 talks more about appointment, resignation and removal. Appointment, removal and resignation. What is ADT 4 form? Exactly, this form will talk about reporting under section 143 subsection 12. If you remember, no, it talks about no, the auditor has to give in a form in his letterhead, in which there should be the CS, firm address, mobile number, email ID, his membership number. ADT 4 is nothing but if an auditor identifying a fraud of more than or equal to 1 crore rupees, he has to inform it to the company, that is the audit committee and also management within 2 days of time, and he has to wait for the reply for 45 days. Within 45 days you are getting a reply. From reply date you have to inform the government within within 15 days of time. If you are not getting a response after the 45th day, wait for 15 days. Within 15 days you are supposed to report. So fraud reporting, what is the form? ADT 4. Yes. Yes. Next, question number 10. Reporting on fraud is to be made by the auditor to the central government when fraud amount is, obviously just now I told you, 1 crore or more. So remember always, when you are studying the monitoring limit, always remember in the exam paper definitely one question which will be a practical question which will be posed about applicability, non-applicability and some monetary limit. That's for sure. 4 marks to guarantee. Along with that, in your MCQs, definitely there will be either 1 or 2 questions which will talk about monetary limits. So what you are supposed to do, when you are reading the monetary limit, give some importance to whether that is more than or equal to or less than or equal to. That should also be given important here. If I talk about fraud is less than 1 crore, no need of reporting to central government. But if the fraud is 1 crore or more, I can say greater than equal to 1 crore, then that should go to whom? Central government in the ADT 4 form. So what is the option here? Option D becomes the correct answer. But lot of people now will be confusing and writing even point C also correct answer. See, A and B I don't expect that they will write answer. But for making confuse you only, he is giving what? 1 crore or above and exceeding 1 crore. There is a lot of difference here. 1 crore above means more than 1 crore. Here, more than or equal to 1 crore. What is the correct answer? 143.12 talks about 1 crore or more. Clear? So what is the correct answer? Option D rules out, that is the correct answer. Yes? Yes. Let's come to next question. Question number 11. Dash is the combination of processes, tools and techniques that are used to tap vast amount of electronic data to obtain meaningful information. So this is a question from automated environment. Audit in an automated environment. In the class, I repeatedly told this chapter becomes most important. Very less content, definitely 4 to 6 marks guarantee in the exam. Damn sure 4 marks descriptive part, 3 marks or 4 marks descriptive part, and at least 1 MCQ or true or false, so damn sure. So nearby 6 marks are the expected weightage. Studying less content, if you are getting that many marks now, I can say equally most important chapter. So what I suggest is, if you have not read this chapter now, at least even now if you read, within some half an hour you can complete this content. Yes. So what this chapter is about, automated environment. In automated environment, we studied about something called data analytics. Data analytics. What is data analytics? It's nothing but a combination of processes, tools and techniques that are used to tap vast amount of electronic data to meaningful information. See, what lot of data which is there with the management, lot of journal entries. For converting that into a meaningful information, we are going to use some tools. That tools can be called as what? Data analytics. This is nothing but a definition. What they have done from the entire definition, they have given the entire definition. But what is the definition? Name, heading name. See, they are giving you the answer, they are asking you the question reverse here. If you are observing carefully here, what they are doing, sir, they are giving the question, they are giving the entire answer only. But they are asking you what is the question about, boss. Understood? So whatever the definition we are covering in the class, that becomes important. You are supposed to remember that. Okay. So what is the answer? Data analytics becomes the correct answer. Okay. Next, a partnership firm of chartered accountants by the name of HK and Associates were the auditors of the company named TR Limited. Due to some reasons, HK and Associates resigned from being the auditor of TR Limited. In this scenario, who will appoint another auditor of TR Limited? So they are talking about resignation case. You are seeing something called resignation case. See, resignation case. If you are finding something called resignation, obviously what will happen? Can I call that to be casual vacancy? See, 139 subsection 8 talks about casual vacancy. Casual vacancy, they are telling something called TR Limited. I don't know whether it's a government company, non-government company. If nothing is specified, what I'll assume? I'll assume it to be non-government company. So 139 subsection 8 talks about appointment of casual vacancy of non-government company and also government company. In case of non-government company, sir, in case of casual vacancy, we don't have luxurious time for conducting a EGM or AGM, whatever it may be. So that's why the power will be given to whom? The board of directors. Wherever you find board of directors, you have to write 30 days. Generally in appointment cases, BOD, 3OD. So remember, sir, in case of appointment, no, board of directors, wherever you find, in that if you are removing this line, no, here you are seeing the line, no, it becomes 30 days. So remember like that at least, okay. So the board of directors will be given a time of exactly how many days? 30 days of time, okay. Within 30 days of time, after appointing, sir, especially in case of resignation, see, casual vacancy may be because of ineligibility, disqualification, or removal, resignation, or death case before the expiry of term. But here, especially in case of resignation, what will happen is, you can appoint the auditor, but within exactly 3 months from the recommendation by the board, from the date of recommendation by the board, you are supposed to conduct an EGM of shareholders and you have to report to get the ratification from the shareholders. That is the content given in the section. So case is about resignation only. Let's see, sir, what they are telling here. First question is they are telling about A members. That's the correct. Wrong answer. Why? Who will appoint? The directors. AGM. Here they are telling about EGM. That also becomes wrong. Why? Because they are not talking about any specified limit there. Next one, board of directors of TR Limited, but such appointment need to be approved by the company TR Limited in the next annual general meeting. That is also completely wrong. Why? Because you have to get the EGM done of the shareholders, not the AGM. Next, board of directors of TR Limited, but such appointment should be approved by the company TR Limited in a general meeting held within 3 months. Of course, if I see, even this statement D also is not complete. You know why? They are not talking about board of directors time limit. It's actually 30 days. But compared to all the above 3 statements, no, I can say D is far better. See what I'm telling, sir, even point D also wrong. Why wrong? Because it's 30 days. See, board of directors will appoint within some specified time limit. What is the time limit? 30 days. That is not given here, I understand. But when I compare to all the above points, no, this is far better. A talks about AGM, it's not AGM, it's EGM or AGM, depends. B talks only about EGM. C talks about in the next AGM. That may be after 5 months, maybe 1 year. So absolutely wrong. What is the correct answer? More logical answer. D is also wrong, but I can say more logical answer. So D becomes the correct answer. Now let's try to enter into a case scenario based question. How it will be looking like. So we have taken some 4 questions for understanding the case scenario based. Okay. So let's try to go to question number 18. Mr. Lakshman is appointed as a statutory auditor of Best Limited for the financial year ended 31st of March 2022. During the course of audit, it was found that few doubtful transactions had been committed by the finance manager who retired in March 22. Means there are some doubtful transactions being carried out by finance manager who retired. Okay. The fraud was going on since last 4 to 5 years and the total amount misappropriated is approximately 75 lakh rupees. Okay. From last 5 years it's going on. Balance sheet of Best Limited reflected a cash balance of 7 crores. They're telling what? They're telling there is a huge cash of how much? 7 crores. 7 pieces of material item. Yes. The company has taken a loan of 2 crores from the bank despite of huge cash. Something is fishy, no? They are telling they are having a cash balance of 7 crores despite which you are telling there is a loan of 2 crore rupees. Kuch to matlab hai. Either this 2 crore might be a galat information or this 7 crore might be a galat information. See, even though you are having a 7 crores of cash, boss, why you are going for a loan? That means something is wrong, no? Yes. So also the Company Act bestows some duties on auditors to report matters to the central government in case of fraud. That is what Companies Act also asks about some matters to be reported to government. What is the matter? 143 subsection 12. An auditor suspecting any fraud. He is identifying any fraud done by either employees or management. If the amount is 1 crore or more, You are supposed to immediately inform to the government within 45 days after 2 days. Sorry, after 2 days, 45 days time to the management, then comes within 15 days of time. Remember that, no? Yes, keep that in mind. So entire case study about there is a cash of 7 crores, loan of 2 crores, and finance manager involving fraudulent activities from last 4 to 5 years. Amount is approximately 75 lakh rupees. That is the entire discussion they are doing. They are telling what here? 75 lakhs is the approximate amount. That means I can say exact for a suspected fraud, sir. Suspected fraud. Remember that? Yes. Let's see. On the basis of above facts, answer below questions in relation to Mr. Lakshman's role and duties while conducting the statutory audit of Best Limited. They are asking based on the above scenario, answer the below questions. Mr. Lakshman shall obtain dash that the finance statements are free from frauds and misstatements. Obviously, absolute or reasonable assurance, it becomes the reasonable assurance, which you already know. It's a basic question. Yes. So reasonable assurance becomes the correct answer because absolute cannot be obtained by the auditor. Management assurance, what nonsense you are talking. This kind of assurance is not there only. Chief Financial Officer's assurance. This in your entire auditing paper, did you try studying something called management assurance, Chief Financial Officer assurance? No, no. Yes. So what is the correct answer here now? Answer is reasonable assurance. Yes. Next one. Mr. Lakshman suspects that cash payments were inflated. Very important. Observe carefully. Mr. Lakshman suspects that cash payments were inflated. Receipts or payments? They are talking about payments were inflated. Out of the below, which could be probable reason for such inflation cash payment? They are telling cash payments are inflated, but what could be the reason they are asking you? Sir, cash payment inflation, sir, means they are talking about some purchase or sales. Obviously, purchase and expenditure related. Yes, let's see. Option A, not accounting for cash sales completely. When you are telling cash sales, it talks about receipts or payments, receipts. But our question is about payments. So option A completely scrapped off. Correct, na? Next. Option B, making payments against purchase vouchers. That is what making payments against purchase vouchers. If there is a proper voucher, how come it becomes inflation? No. Next. Making payments against inflated vouchers. What is the meaning of inflated? The vouchers whose value has been increased. So this is B seems to be somewhat justifiable now. D, teaming and ladding. What is the meaning of teaming and ladding? Teaming and ladding means you are delaying the accounting for. Simple, sir. What you are doing? Let's say there are customers A, B, C, D. A is giving you money that you are taking to your pocket. B is giving the money. You are accounting the B's money to A's money. And C is giving money. C's money you are accounting to B's money. And D is giving money. D's money you are accounting to C's money. So like that you are trying to delay the money recognition. And you are taking the first person's money. That can be called as teaming and lending. That talks about again receipts na. So my entire question is about payments and the options given are about receipts here. So what is the correct answer, sir? Justifiable answer is option number C. Correct? Yes. Next one. As per section 143 subsection 12 of Companies Act 2013 and rule 13 of the Company Auditors and Auditor Rules 2014, Mr. Lakshman shall. So Lakshman has to report under what section? 143(12). That means fraud responsibility only now. Yes. So when you are identifying a fraud, so in the given question, the amount is about more than or equal to 1 crore or less than 1 crore. Of course, less than 1 crore, 75 lakhs only given. Yes. So even suspected fraud also covered now in 143(12). Yes, sir. So is it required that you are supposed to give it to government? Answer is no. Reporting to government is not required. But for whom you have to report? You have to report it to the member, the company. In the company, if there is an audit committee, what we'll do? We'll report it to audit committee. If audit committee not there, we'll go to whom, sir? Board of directors. That is the answer. Let's see. Report the matters to the audit committee constituted under section 177 or the board in the case within such time and in such manner prescribed. I can say 2 days time. Yes, next one. Report the matter to the audit committee constituted within such time. They are telling here audit committee or board of directors. Here they are telling what? Audit committee only. Next they are telling what? Report the matter to the audit committee and board. See, you are observing here and here. They are telling only audit committee here. They are telling only board here. They are telling both. Simple. Only board, only audit committee, both or anyone. What is the answer? Anyone. If audit committee is there, you will report them. Committee not there, you will report to board. That is the content given there, not under there. Okay. So what is the option? Option A. That's why I tell you when you are reading a content in the section, each and every term, each and every word becomes most important there. Okay. So what is the correct answer? Option A becomes that is either audit committee or the board. First priority audit committee. If they are not there, you will go to whom? Board of directors. Okay. Yes. Question number 4. Owing to the dash limitations of audit, there is dash risk that some material misstatement of finance statement will not be detected, even though audit is properly planned and performed. See, obviously, we talked about two types of limitations. One is inherent limitations of audit. In your entire audit paper, we talked about two types of limitations. One is inherent limitations of audit. Second is inherent limitations of internal controls. They are talking about inherent limitations of audit only. So what is the first option here? Inherent. Inherent two are there here. So option C and D ruled out, now completely eliminated. It will be option A, option B, no. There is a dash risk. Sir, inherent means avoidable, unavoidable, unavoidable. Correct, no? So what is the correct answer? Unavoidable. B also becomes correct. See what I am telling, sir, by reading the first sentence itself, first line itself, we can come to an answer. But don't stop there, read the entire statement. See here though what happened, remaining 3 got eliminated. That is the reason why I am going for option A only. But in remaining question, no, will be like, it's not so simple. You have to go through the entire question. Okay. Yes. Next one. As an auditor, what conclusion can Mr. Lakshman draw looking at the huge cash reserve of the company and a corresponding bank loan? So definitely there is a cash, there is a bank loan also. Something is fishy, no? So what auditor has to do? He has to ensure that there is a sufficient and appropriate audit evidence whether the fraud is existing or not existing. Correct? Let's see. First one, reporting this matter to central government. Is it required? Not required. Why? Amount is less than 1 crore. So this becomes ruled out. Obtain a sufficient appropriate audit evidence of existence of fraud. Okay, this seems to be reasonable, but let's see the C point. Report the matter under carve-out 2020. Report the matter. Sir, here the fraud is suspected fraud or actual executed fraud, sir? Suspected fraud. In carve-out reporting, only the actual reported fraud or the notice fraud will come, not the suspected frauds. So even option C becomes ruled out. How come you are saying it's a suspected fraud, sir? They are telling approximate amount. There might be a possibility. We are not sure about it. Okay. D point. There is nothing to be reported. This is nonsense. No. Obviously, when you are finding something uncertainty, you are supposed to use your professional skepticism. What is professional skepticism? Using your questioning mind, being alert to unusual circumstances, having cash also, having bank loan also. Obviously, some conflict of interest here, conflict of evidences. So that you'll go for obtaining a sufficient and appropriate audit evidence. This becomes a correct answer. Understood? Yes. So let's come to next question. Question number 19. Moon Group of companies is a retail chain involved. See, always remember when you are studying a case scenario based question, when you are supposed to answer a case scenario based question, read the entire case scenario first. Once at least go to the entire case scenario first, then go to the MCQs. Don't straight away go into the case studies. People are doing a mistake. They are straight away jumping into the case studies and they are straight away jumping into the MCQs and then coming back to the case study. That will waste your time. So what I am advising here is first at least once go to the entire case study, then go to the MCQ. Maybe in the MCQs what will happen, no, the question requirement no, will be actually exactly coming from the straight line from the case study only. So be careful. First at least once go through the entire case study. Okay. So let's go through it. Moon Group of companies is a retail chain involving in the selling of daily consumer needs directly to the customer. They are in the process of appointing an audit firm for the audit of their accounts for the financial year 21-22. Moon Group is a South Indian based consumer store having a total of 16 outlets across 4 cities in South India. 16 outlets and also 4 cities. Sumant and company is appointed as the principal auditors of the entire group. So who are the main auditors? Sumant and company. So that you are going to highlight. So who are the main auditors here? Let's try to highlight that. Sumant and company is appointed as the principal auditors of the entire group. Okay. Prescribed in details the terms of clearly the Companies Act is the Companies Act is clearly prescribing in the details of the terms of engagement. Law is very clear, they are telling here. Okay, next. Further, there are many branch auditors appointed for the outlets in the other cities. Even branch auditors also appointed for the other cities. Okay. The company also has an internal audit function conducted on a quarterly basis. They are telling what, even they have internal audit also conducted on what basis? Quarterly basis. By whom? Rama and company. Following are the observations during the course of statutory audit. As a part of your statutory audit, you are observing some point. They are giving one by one. One of the discounts offered by the store is in the form of payback cards where reward points are accumulated and the consumer can redeem the same on subsequent purchases. What they are telling, when you are purchasing now, you will get some reward points. Now that can be redeemed by you in the subsequent parts. Okay, that is the general point only. The general in the stores. The management and the internal auditors are the opinion that points redeemed are to be treated as a trade discount. What they are telling? The points redeemed here are to be treated as what? They are telling here what? It's a trade discount. Let's see what will happen. The external auditors are doubtful on the matter. Sir, obviously the auditor will be having a definite doubt about the matter here. Okay. So one of the outlet in the Chennai region is in the verge of getting closed and is only left with low value stock to be cleared before closure. For the in Chennai region, they are having a very getting close, almost getting close here. They are only left with low value stock. That means they are trying to indirectly convey here the stock is material, immaterial. Indirectly they are trying to cover, sir, stock is material, immaterial. That kind of suggestion is trying to give you. Okay. So what are the observation? First observation, they are having a discount being given. They are treating it as a trade discount. The auditor has it out here. Next one, there is a branch which is getting closed. There is a low value stock, immaterial stock. Next one, during the year the sales were only around 1,40,000 and the auditor considered this component to be immaterial. Very important. He's giving some reasons for why immaterial. Then he's only telling you it's immaterial. Okay. Next, all other outlets are performing well with good revenue shares. All others are performing well. Good. Okay. The gratuity valuation of employees of retail chain is done by an external valuer. So gratuity valuation, who is doing? An external valuer. The auditor, considering the quantum involved, appoints an external auditor's expert for verification of that actuarial. So what is it doing, sir? External auditor is appointing an expert for verification of the actuarial calculations. Okay, that means he is not an expert. That's why. From the above facts, answer the following questions by choosing the correct answer. See, this is the entire case study, out of which whatever I've highlighted, no, these are the contents you are supposed to keep in mind. Okay. Now based on this only, mostly the question will be looking like. Okay. Now let's try to enter into the questions, sir. Let's start with one by one. Let's start. As per essay 210, agreeing on the terms of audit engagement, which of the following statement is correct? They're asking what? Case study they are given. They're asking a question here. As per essay 210, agreeing the terms of audit engagement, which of the statement is correct? Oh my God. Even if you are not studying the case study also, you will be in a position to easily answer this question. But not all the questions. In the case study, there might be possibility of 1 or 2 questions which maybe you can answer even without studying the question. Okay, I mean case study. But it's not so for all questions. Okay. So that's why I suggest no, read the entire question once. Then go to the jumping into the MCQ part. Okay. Let's see. So if you remember, audit engagement letter essay 210 says, generally appointment is mandatory and audit engagement letter becomes mandatory. And if terms and conditions are very clear in the Companies Act, I mean to say that law, you are not supposed to rewrite again. In the letter, you are not supposed to rewrite. Simply you have to give a reference of that law and you have to ask the management that they should be clear about that law terms. That's sufficient. And if law is not clear, no, you are supposed to clearly write in the audit engagement letter. That's the content. Okay. Now let's see what is given in the MCQs. See, by seeing that question is lengthy, you should not be confused. Okay, you should not be like feeling like question might be difficult. Wherever you find a question to be lengthy, no, it becomes generally easier. Okay. Let's see. Though law prescribes in sufficient details the terms of audit engagement, the auditor still need to record them in writing. Answer is absolutely wrong. Why? If law is clear, why to waste our time? Let's give a reference only. So option A becomes completely nonsense, na? Yes, sir. Okay. Sorry, option A, na? 1 minute. Option A completely becomes nonsense here. Okay. Next one, option B. Since law prescribes in sufficient details the terms of audit engagement, the auditor need not record them in writing agreement except for the fact that law or regulation applies, and also seek written agreement from the management that it acknowledges the understanding that it has responsibility for preparation of financial statements. This sounds to be good, na? Yes, but let's see with remaining are there. See, the auditor has to take an extract of law, prescribe the details of the terms of audit engagement, and obtain the content signature. So this is nowhere in the covered in the standard. Okay, he is giving a general point. Let's see the point. Though law prescribes in sufficient details the terms of audit engagement, the auditor still need to record them in writing. Answer is absolutely no. What is the correct answer? If law is very clear, why to waste our time? Let's give a reference to law only, and let's ask the management accept your like responsibility. See, these are the points you have to remember. Like that, we have to take the responsibility of the management. Clear? Yes. So let's go to the next one. Question number 2. With respect to the treatment of discount on redemption of points in payback card, what should be the action of an external auditor? Tell me, external auditor having a doubt, yes or no? Yes, sir, he is having a good doubt about the discount to be treated. When he is having a doubt, he should ignore that. He should be giving a special consideration. He should be giving a special consideration. And if he is getting a sufficient and appropriate audit evidence that treating it as a trade discount is wrong, what he has to do? He has to go for issuing a modified opinion. Correct? Let's see. The auditor can, first option, the auditor can place reliance on and go by the opinion of the branch auditor and internal auditor as they have only done through a detailed audit procedures. What nonsense they are talking about here? They are telling, sir, if branch auditor and internal auditor both are telling this is correct, you have to go for correct. Obviously, you are the main auditor. You should not be depending on anyone. You should be applying your own professional judgment. So A becomes a complete nonsense. Okay. B. The auditor, see, and one more thing, sir, in MCQs, no. If he wants to, if he doesn't find any other content, no, he'll try to give all kind of nonsense statements. By seeing that also, you can come to a conclusion what is correct answer. Sometimes, not all times. Okay. Yes. Next one. The auditor can place reliance on the management's accounting policy. What nonsense? He's telling what you have to place the reliance on management. No. You are here for doing the verification of management's policies. They are telling rely on the management. No. Next one. The external auditor has sole responsibility for the audit opinion expressed, and hence he should perform procedures to satisfy himself on the correct treatment and issue opinion accordingly. This sounds to be reasonable. You should not place any reliance on anyone. You have to perform your own procedures. You are responsible for your own report. So please be careful. This seems to be reasonable. But let's see other point also. The auditor can advise management on correct treatment, but cannot qualify his opinion. What nonsense. The auditor is not here for giving a advice. He is not here for giving a a kind of suggestions. He is here for expressing an opinion. He may give a suggestions on a background, but ultimately what is his responsibility? Expression of opinion. So D becomes also nonsense here now. So what is the correct answer? C is the correct answer. Correct? So let's go to the next question. Question number 3. What is the main objective of the external auditor when he uses the work of internal audit function of Rama and company? What is telling? See, this also na. Maybe he is giving a case scenario based. But sir, let me talk here. Even if he is not giving a case scenario, you can answer this question. Why? We have SA 610. It talks about an external auditor can use the internal audit function in 2 ways. Either he may use the work of internal auditor or he may go for direct assistance. If you remember, he may either go for direct assistance or he may go for what? He may go for depending on the auditor's report. In the question, what is covering here? What is the main objective of external auditor when he uses the work of internal auditor? When I am saying when he uses work, I can say report of the internal auditor only. Yes. So when you are depending on the internal auditor work, definitely you are supposed to see whether that work has been properly objectively performed or not. If the internal audit function was not at all having any objectivity, how can you get a conclusion? How can you depend on him? Correct? Let's see one by one. What is the main objective? To determine as to which area, what extent the work can be used, and whether that work is adequate for the purpose of audit. So seems to be reasonable. To appropriately direct supervise. See, already I am not talking about here direct assistance. I am talking about what already work done by internal auditor. I cannot go for direction supervision. Why? Already work has been performed now. So B becomes complete nonsense. Because what? Very simple reason. See, if I go for direct assistance, no, this becomes correct only. But here not talking about direct assistance. They are talking about using the work. That means work already performed now. I cannot go for direction supervision. Okay. So A might be correct. Let's see. C. Review the internal audit report and audit the areas not covered by the internal audit function. This anyways you are going to do. But what is the question about what is the main objective of external auditor when using the work? We are telling here when you are using the work, what is your objective? It's not about performing other works. Okay. So C also wrong completely. Next one. Inquire from management on special points that arose during the internal audit and follow up. This anyways will do, boss. But what they are asking here, see, C and D are correct statements only. I am not denying the fact. Even B also correct statement only. But in relation to question, that statement becomes irrelevant. What is the question about? If you are using the work of internal auditor, what is your main objective? Very simple. What is the work you have to use? What are the areas covered? Right now, to determine as to which area, what extent the work can be used, and whether the work is adequate for the purpose of audit. This is the correct answer you are supposed to write here. Okay. Yes. Next one. The external auditors finds that branch auditor of outlet in Chennai region, which is in the very verge of closing down, is audited by an auditor who is not a member of ICI. What should the external auditor do? Obviously, when a branch audit is there, whether that work is being properly executed or not, who has to take care? The main auditor as per SA 600. You have to explain him what is the plan, what are the important areas, what is the timeline. You have to continuously monitor. You have to have regular meetings. That is the complete discussion in SA 600. But the entire discussion is crap here. Why? The Chennai branch is about to close, and the transactions there are material, immaterial. Boss, if that is immaterial, auditor should consider ignore, sir. Ignore. The auditor will be considering only those misstatements which are material in nature. He doesn't have luxurious time for doing all those. Okay. So the important point here, sir, without studying the case study, you will come to a conclusion that auditor has to do the work, but it's not so. Why? The branch is immaterial. If you observe carefully in the case study, see the case study. The case study is clearly telling, sir, see here. The auditor considered this component to be what? Material, immaterial, immaterial. You are seeing this to be immaterial here? Yes. So what is the correct answer here now? For this question number 4, what is the correct answer? Let's see. Since the professional competence of auditor is in question, the external auditor should himself visit the premise and audit the accounts. May be correct if that may be material. Let's see B point. Since the financial statements of the component is immaterial, the provisions of SA 600 do not apply. I can say sounds to be reasonable. Why? Immaterial. The auditor can rely on the financial statements of that component by obtaining a written representation from management. See, the question is about whether to go for auditing or not. They are asking about written representation. See, obtaining evidence and written representation, both are not substitute to each other. Instead of obtaining evidence, you can't go for written representation. If that is the case, no, auditors will not do any work. Straight away they will go for written representation, they'll take it, they'll close the matter. So, for executing a procedure, obtaining a written representation is not a criteria. So, option C also completely goes for a toss, na? Yes, sir. Option C also ruled out. Let's see option D. Since the professional competence of auditor is in question, the external auditor should coordinate with the branch auditor and call for books of accounts and other explanations. This seems to reasonable, but when if the matter is material. The question is about here material, immaterial, immaterial. No. Question is about immaterial. If that is immaterial, auditor will consider ignore, sir. Ignore. So what is the correct answer? B becomes the correct answer. Why? SA 600 will appear whatever the standard, whatever the audit procedure, you will apply only when it is material. If that is immaterial, no, you will not consider only. Okay? Yes. 5 please. Now, which of these is not a factor affecting the external auditor's evaluation of objectivity of internal audit function? Very important. Which of these is not a factor affecting the external auditor's evaluation of objectivity? What is the meaning of objectivity? Purposefulness. As an internal auditor, if you are not acting purposefully, if you are completely acting as per the wishes of the management, using your work becomes completely waste only, na? Yes, sir. So when you are considering the evaluation of internal auditor work for checking the objectivity, what you are supposed to see? Let's see one by one. Whether the organizational status of the internal audit function. See, they are asking about what? Not a factor. They are not asking about factor to be given. Not a factor. Okay, let's see. We have to pick the odd one out. Whether the organizational status of the internal audit function supports the ability of the function to be free from bias, conflict of interest, or undue influence. Obviously, this should be a main criteria here. The status of the internal auditor, the appointment, his duties should be independent of the management. He should be given a complete free unbiasedness. He should be given a freedom there. Then only he can act objectively. A becomes a factor. But they are asking not a factor. No. Let's see B point. Whether the internal audit function is free of any conflicting responsibilities. See, if they are having a conflicting responsibility, if they are having, see, they are getting paid their salary. Now they are supposed to verify their salaries. Obviously, that's a conflicting responsibility. There they will not be acting objectively. Even B also seems to be correct factor only. See the next point. Whether the internal auditors have adequate technical training and proficiency in auditing. See, training and proficiency will talk about not objectivity. That talks about whether your work is proper or not. So see, somewhere like I can say it's not see, it's a function only. I'm not denying that, but it's not targeting about objectivity. It talks about more or whether work can be relied or not. See the last point, whether those charged with governance oversee the employment decisions related to internal audit function. Obviously, the power should not be given to the management. It should be given to whom? The TCWG. Why? If the power is given to management, no. Management is going to apply coercion on them. They are going to apply the undue influence on the internal audit team. So D also a reasonable factor. So what is the see, D is also a factor, but it's not aiming at objectivity. It's aiming at whether to rely on the work, not to rely on the work. So what is the odd one out here? Option C is the odd one out. Okay? Yes. So how to evaluate that, sir? Very simple. If you are having a conceptual clarity of what is objectivity, you will get a clarity of what to be done. And all the best for your exams. Thank you very much.